It's haul time. What's going on YouTube? It's Eli with Common Sense, and I have some fragrances to show you. So I love Zara fragrances, and I actually did a previous video. You can actually check it up here where I unboxed 4 or 5 different Zara fragrances from the last haul that I did. A lot of them were really fantastic buys for the price, especially because they got a lot of master perfumers to work on their new kind of private line fragrances, and you can really see those for about $40. They're a little bit more expensive than some of the $20 cheap ones, but I think they are definitely well worth buying. You've definitely got some bangers in there. And today we're gonna go over some of those fragrances. Let's check it out. All right, new fragrance time. Let's go. So this first fragrance is called Sunrise on the Red Sand Dunes by Zara. This is an eau de parfum, and this one's actually created by Mylene Alvran. So Mylene has actually done fragrances for big fragrance houses like Bottega Veneta, Chloe, and also Escada. So definitely have a lot of history from this perfumer, and I think it's really awesome that Zara is able to team up with these people and create awesome fragrances inspired by some of their greatest creations. So again, this one is Sunrise on the Red Sand Dunes. So that name in itself is definitely something that caught me. I saw that, I'm like, okay, I don't even know what it smells like. We're just going into this blind. I love the name, so let's check it out. As you can see, this is an eau de parfum, and it's actually very similar to, what am I talking about? It's the exact same bottle as the Sand Desert at Sunset, which is the sort of angel share clone. But I gotta say, I love these bottles because you have a really nice kind of clean, thick glass at the bottom. You know, you can see the juice really nice. It's high visibility, and you have a nice kind of minimalistic text across the front that I think just screams elegance. Sadly, this one is a plastic cap, but if you give it a listen, oh my goodness, look at this atomizer. Look at how nice this sprays across. Just a nice kind of even pressure. I don't think it's pressurized, but it's definitely one of the more higher quality atomizers that I've seen in a long time. Wow, that's strong, but that smells good. Immediately, I get a beautiful bright orange blossom and citrus from this one. So this one's got bergamot, mandarin, and ginger, and it's got a base of amber, orange blossom, and cassis. Cassis? I'm not really sure how you say it.
We are looking at how to pronounce this word, as well as how to say more interesting but often confusing French words and names, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel. This is French for black currant fruit. There's also a city in the south of France that has this name. So how do you say it? Well, generally in English it is said as cassis. Cassis. Now in French there are 2 different ways of pronouncing it. Some say it as cassis, others as cassis, cassis, or cassis.
Cassis. The cassis gives off a little bit of that kind of black currant vibe with a little bit of a tart kind of green earthy tone. But oh my goodness, the orange blossom and the citruses up top are fantastic. I feel like you also get a little bit of a petitgrain note that's not really listed, and I also think it does come off a little bit like grapefruit. That's kind of what my nose picks up. But my God, this smells ultra fresh and invigorating up top. But man, that ginger comes off ultra fresh, and it comes off very prominent with a little bit of that warm kind of solar touch to it. I also feel like you get a little bit of a mint tea vibe because it's really kind of green, it's kind of herbaceous, and it comes off very earthy and really pleasing. But I think this one shares a little bit of that kind of soapy, a little bit spiced citrus from something like Tour de Hermes. I think it's very similar to that one with a little bit of that peppered woods and a bit of that tea vibe, like I said. Somebody else had actually pointed out on one of the fragrance blogs that this smells a little bit like Tour de Hermes and Earl Grey tea. So definitely that kind of Earl Grey chai mixed with Tour de Hermes. I can definitely see where they're coming from. But man, once you get past this beautiful floral citrusy opening in that dry down, you get a little bit more of that minty kind of green facet. I think this one's definitely a little bit more mature than some of the other Zara offerings, but I have to say this one smells extremely, extremely high quality. There's just something really mature and uplifting about that nice kind of soft, creamy, green Earl Grey tea vibe mixed with those really nice citruses up top. I imagine this one would be perfect for the spring and summertime, and I feel like you could pull this one off in the fall as well. I actually wore this one as my fragrance of the day. This one has been going strong for almost 10 hours, and I still smell it on me on my collar and on my neck. So definitely goes strong for about 3-4 hours, and then it does sit a little bit closer to your skin, but you can still definitely pick it up a lot stronger than some of the other fragrances at this price point. This one you can pick up for $40, and I think this one is definitely worth it. And that one is Sunrise on the Red Sand Dunes. So this next one is Ood Vibrant Leather. Now, I am a huge fan of the Vibrant Leather flankers that come out each year because you get a really nice, amazing magnetic cap. I'm a sucker for magnetic caps, and this presentation, I love how the bottle looks because it's usually that kind of gradient look, and I love how this one feels in the hand and on the shelf. And when you take photos of it, because I love the little product photography here and there. As you can see from this little black sleeve, this one is an eau de parfum, and it was actually created by the master perfumer Jeremy Epinay. And Jeremy has created fragrances for a lot of well-known brands like Salvatore Ferragamo, Wilhelm Parfumerie, and Van Cleef and Arpels. Like the other Vibrant Leather fragrances from Zara, they have this really cool kind of graphic depicting all of the different notes that are used in this fragrance composition. And on the side, it also reads Hypnotic. Oh, we got a typo. It says an hypnotic leather blended with a warm and dark base of ambery notes and oud scent. Bergamot, incense, and oud note. We'll see about that. Ooh, really nice atomizer. I think that one's actually better than the previous one. Look at how far this sprays out. That's like an arm length. This one's got top notes of bergamot, middle notes of incense and woody notes, and a base of agarwood and amber. This one I feel like it's definitely inspired by Creed Aventus, but with a little bit of a twist on it. So this one actually reminds me a little bit of Oud and Bergamot by Jo Malone with a little bit less of that oud vibe. But I think as it dries down, it starts to smell a little bit more unique. So like the last one, I think this definitely shares that sort of tart bergamot vibe up top, but this one is definitely woodier. It's also got kind of a pleasant spiced citrus vibe up top. It's definitely heavy on the incense here, but sadly I don't get too much of that oud note. I feel like this one is a little bit overshadowed by that kind of smoky incense. So I think as this one kind of dries down on the skin, you definitely lose a little bit of that edge from that smoky incense, and it calms down, and that amber kind of peeks through and smells a little bit aquatic and also just really powdery and creamy. You get some nice powdery silky woods with a little bit of that sour citrus kind of remaining from the top, but definitely more toned down and definitely more well-rounded on that dry down. It starts to branch away from that kind of Creed Aventus vibe up top, and it smells a little bit more unique. A lot of people have said that this one smells a lot like the original Vibrant Leather, so I would say that it's a little bit redundant if you have the original Vibrant Leather, but if you don't, or if you're all about that sort of spicy, woody kind of bergamot combination with a tiny touch of that oud, then you might want to just pick this one up. This one also lasts around that 7-hour mark, and it becomes a little bit closer to the skin after that. I haven't worn this one a whole lot, but I plan to do so in the following weeks. Projection's actually pretty good on this one for about 4 hours, I would say, and it pushes a nice scent bubble around you wherever you go. I still think I like the other one just a little bit better, but this one is pretty nice for the price, and that one is Oud Vibrant Leather by Zara. Now these last two fragrances are from the Cities collection, and we're looking at Zara's Seoul and Seoul Summer. So this first one we're going to be looking at is Seoul Summer, and actually the full name is Zara Seoul 532-8 Sinsa Donggangamgu Summer. I feel like I totally butchered that. I gotta say, I love this design of this bottle. It's got that kind of blue to kind of teal look. It shares that same exact vibe as the Davidoff Cool Water Pacific Summer. Man, that looks refreshing. So Seoul Summer is an eau de toilette, and this one is 100 ml. Whoa, that is like a squirt gun. Just got all over my light. Ooh, okay. Definitely smelled something just like this before. This one is a really clean, fresh apple up top. You got notes of apple, orange blossom, and amber in this one. But right up top, this one actually reminds me of a clean, fresh apple scented dryer sheet. It smells very clean, almost like just clean folded laundry mixed with that nice, fresh apple accord. I gotta say, this one smells very youthful. It definitely shares some of that same bubblegum sweetness of Paco Rabanne's Invictus and Invictus Aqua. I think it's a little bit closer to Invictus Aqua, I would say, but with a little bit of that kind of apple, that crisp apple vibe, but definitely very youthful and projects really nice. I feel like this one also has a little bit of that aromatic, slightly herbaceous undertone. This one's sort of a fusion between Invictus Aqua and Nautica's Aqua Rush. Those two are wonderful fragrances, especially Invictus Aqua. That one is a great seller. You know, it's a bestseller for a reason, and it really just gives off that kind of nice, youthful, fresh vibe. I think as this dries down on your skin, you get a little bit more of that muskiness, and it becomes a little bit more salty. I think it's definitely mass-pleasing, but definitely something that you've smelled before, so definitely keep that into consideration when buying these fragrances, because a lot of them are sort of interpretations of other fragrances. They're heavily inspired by some of the best sellers, but this one, I think it's definitely cheap enough because it's $20 on its own, or like 26 or 25 bucks for the 2-pack like I bought for this one, which is kind of crazy. I'd say this is definitely a good blind reach fragrance. I could see you spraying your car with this one, keep it in your gym bag if you want to just spray down and smell kind of nice before going into the gym. But again, this smells very youthful and clean, but I think the inclusion of that orange blossom in the amber gives it a little bit of a unique edge that separates it from something like Invictus or Invictus Aqua. So my opinion has changed a little bit on this one since I first tried it out. Again, a really nice kind of twist, a deviation from something that takes inspiration from something like Invictus Aqua. If I had to be critical about this one, I would say the weakness is some of that kind of synthetic sweetness. Again, it smells definitely better on the skin, on the dry down for sure, and I think some of that kind of salty tones come out in this one, and it smells pretty nice for the price. This one lasts around 6 hours on skin, and it performs pretty good for about 2 hours, I would say. And then again, you're looking at maybe reapplying or just trying a different fragrance. So take that into consideration, but if you want something cheap, a good blind reach fragrance for less than $30, pick this one up. That one is Zara's Soul Summer. And last but not least, we have Zara's Soul, just the original. So this one is an eau de toilette again, and this one has notes of pepper, amber, and ylang ylang. So right off the top, this one kind of reminds me a little bit of Hairspray. It's got that kind of peppered, synthetic kind of sweetness. I would say it's not quite as nice as the last one. Yeah, there's definitely a bit of that kind of synthetic screechy sweetness that I'm not the biggest fan of. There's a specific type of kind of ironing starch spray that we use, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of that one. It just smells a little bit like kind of cheap detergent almost. Okay, as this one dries down, you definitely get more of a similarity to the original Paco Rabanne Invictus. It's definitely similar to Soul Summer because this is of course the original one, but I feel like it's a little bit more bland, a little bit more boring. I do feel like I get a little bit of a salt and pepper accord here. I think mainly from that amber because that one can come off a little bit peppery and aromatic and airy and aquatic at the same time. But I feel like there's not a whole lot to say about this one. Oh God, this is gonna make me sneeze. This is the first fragrance to make me sneeze like that. Yeah. Not a huge fan of this one. I do have to say on the dry down, it does come off a little bit more pleasing. It's a little bit sweeter, it's a little bit softer, and you lose a lot of that harshness from the top. But I think this one is sort of, again, like that kind of sporty fragrance that just really is a blind reach fragrance. It smells kind of like a cheap, youthful fragrance, and I don't really see myself wearing this one all that much. It might be something to give to like your little brother who's like, you know, 8 or 9 and wants to smell good. There's lots of other stuff out there that smells like this, and I just am not the biggest fan of this one. But the bottle does look cool, and I can't really complain for 2 fragrances for 26 bucks, but on its own, I would not pick this one up. And that one is Zara's Soul. So I think out of all 4 of these fragrances, the 2 most expensive ones, the kind of private line ones, I think these really, really shine. They smell a lot more high quality, and I think you get a lot more bang for your buck. And again, you do get those really nice perfumers behind this that have a lot of history working with some of the top brands. And I think you're getting a lot more bang for your buck when you're buying these as opposed to the kind of cheap gym bag fragrances like Soul. I'm sorry, I really wanted to like you, Soul. It's not you, it's me. Actually, it could be you. It's probably you. So that wraps up today's video. Have you tried any Zara fragrances, or are there any that you are just a huge fan of like I am? I'd love to hear more about those. So leave them in the comments down below and let's talk about fragrance. If this was your first time checking out the channel, I'd like to welcome you and thank you so much for checking out this video. And of course, if you're a regular on the channel, you guys are awesome because you're the reason that I do all this. I've been Eli with Common Sense. Until the next time, bye-bye. ASMR, just.